Invest 91L continues to fall apart. We'll look at that. And if what is typically the busiest week of the Atlantic hurricane season will be active this year. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather. It's nice to see you on a Saturday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, I've got all the newest information on Invest 91L. We'll take a look at what's been happening and what the thoughts are from the Hurricane Center, myself, and the models as it gets closer to the Eastern Caribbean. Next week is typically the busiest week of the Atlantic hurricane season climatologically, so I've got much more on that. And of course, your island by island forecast. Let's get started. Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. You get storm damage of any kind, go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. One quick announcement. We did hit 60,000 subscribers earlier today. Whether you were the first subscriber or you subscribed this afternoon, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you very much. I'm going to have much more of that coming up in just a second. But we got to get into what's been happening here. Obviously, let's move into Invest 91L. You see that the area from the Hurricane Center for Development has gone from a red all the way down to a yellow. They've dropped it to a 30% chance, and it really looks like on this Saturday, Invest 91L is really collapsing. There is just not much to it right now. The drier air, the shear, and the development area of the Atlantic Basin really just ripped this storm apart. It was always going to be struggling, but the models never really had a good handle on how much this could really rip apart this storm. Remember, we talked about in the last several videos, this is a very small, compact storm, and when you get those kinds without a true low-level center, these environmental conditions can really influence the storms when they're this tiny. So, at this point in time, the Hurricane Center continues to quickly drop the chance of development, and it really looks like 91L is going to fall apart. We don't want to put a pin in it as of yet, but for those who live in the Eastern Caribbean and the Lesser Antilles, again, the chance for appreciable problems from Invest 91L continues to drop. Now, some of you have mentioned you could use some rain. We'll talk about that. Potentially, 91L could be a good thing and bring some areas desperate for some showers that opportunity. But as far as any stronger tropical development with 91L, it really looks to be a very low-end chance, if not zero. Again, I don't want to say we're done. I'm going to monitor the situation here, but as far as any development in the next 48 hours, it's very low. And even as it gets closer with a slightly better environment to the Lesser Antilles and the Windward Islands in general, not expecting that to happen. Let's take a look at how far it is away from the island of Barbados. We'll swing it on out. At this point in time, we're about 1,350 miles away from the island, so there's still plenty of time to monitor whatever the heck is going to happen here out of 91L. I'll also note this as well, my friends. Remember, the Hurricane Center had a 90% chance of development. I can't remember a wave that was especially in September that had a 90% chance of development that never did. It may have never happened. I can maybe think of one other one, but it was moving away from any landmass. So, the fact that we are here in the climatological peak of the hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin with a wave that looked like it did, with the models showing what they showed, and the fact that this is going to more than likely just fizzle out, is somewhat unprecedented here. So, kind of shows you the struggle so far of the Atlantic hurricane season. Now, on the back end of this, there is another tropical wave we'll probably have to watch out for in time as well. And we'll talk more about the week forecast coming up with other potential areas. But again, 91L, just a 30% chance, and likely that number will fall, but still could bring some wind and rain to portions of the Eastern Caribbean into next week. So we are going to continue to move into the discussion of 91L, and we're going to just talk about what this could bring. So I'm going to slap on the GFS deterministic run of the model. Now, again, you can clearly see there is at least an axis of instability and moisture coming in here, and this is going to, if nothing else, up the rain chance overall for the area here. More than likely, again, we're going to get some moisture coming in over the weekend and early next week, not associated with whatever is left of 91L, but in that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday timeframe, you can see a little bit of that coming in here starting right now. Is it much? More than likely not. Now, the GFS is farther north, so you're going to actually see on the GFS model where we actually have a little bit more rain for the Leeward Islands in general, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's, Anguilla, St. Martin, the Virgin Islands, and maybe Puerto Rico as well. And it's been so darn hot, getting a little bit of quality rain wouldn't be a bad thing. And again, there's nothing wind-wise organized out of the GFS model, so just pockets of moisture coming in with maybe a little bit of squally weather, but nothing that I would be concerned about here based on that. When we look at the wind profile from the GFS deterministic model, again, even yesterday, we still had a little bit of a core of wind associated with the storm. Now you're going to see as we go out through time here, there will still be a little bit of a twist, could even be just mid-level, but there is nothing that is trying to wrap up. Now, again, a few hundred miles away from the Leeward Islands and the Lesser Antilles in general, conditions look to be a little bit more favorable. But that being said, this storm is so ripped apart, more than likely it's not going to be able to, produce a genesis again and become a true low-level center. And again, the GFS model is a little bit farther to the north. If you look at your legend up top, we get to 20, maybe 25 mile an hour sustained winds. So again, a little bit of squally weather is likely with this, but a true tropical system more than likely is not going to develop. When we look at the European ensembles, again, they've really fallen off. Now, the European is one that still holds on to a couple of areas of development, but you're looking at a few ensemble members out of 50, so the chance is still low. Now, behind this, again, we are in the peak of hurricane season. We would typically expect to see more tropical waves coming off the West African coast with signs of development, and the European model picks up all that, and we'll have more on that, of course, for you as we get through the rest of the week as well. So, moving on to Thursday's Euro model, same model, but just a snapshot of that. Again, you have one lone ensemble member here moving into the Lesser Antilles, but you can almost discount this at this point in time. Looking at the HAFS A model, the HAFS A was one that was decent with the storm yesterday. I paused this Wednesday afternoon. Again, there is no true low-level center, but if you look at these numbers, these are your wind gusts in miles an hour. So if you do live in the Lesser Antilles, a lot of the models are painting on some 20 to 25 mile an hour winds as we get into as early as late Tuesday, but especially Wednesday and portions of Thursday. So we're going to kick up some breezy conditions, maybe a few local squalls, but again, to get some additional rain in the Lesser Antilles overall without a damaging system is not really the worst case scenario by any stretch of the imagination. So the key messages for 91L, again, the Hurricane Center continues to lower the development, and it is somewhat unprecedented here in early September to go from a 90 to a 70 to a 30 in the main development region of the Atlantic, but that's what we've had, and likely that number will fall. Most models have no development, but some do bring some rain and wind into the Eastern Caribbean into midweek. If you live in the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Lesser Antilles, you should still monitor the situation. Again, there's still a 30% chance at this point in time. There's a very high likelihood that we do not get a tropical system, but it's always wise to make sure that you stay weather aware this time of the year. So we should still be watching and we still should be waiting. Okay, friends, like I said, thank you so much to getting to 60,000 subscribers. Most of the time I ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. Would love for you to do so. But I do have one thing I would like to ask of you for today, and that's to share this channel with your family and friends, or just one person that you know, right? Would love to get that subscriber count up. We need to continue to grow here at Meteo Mundo to provide you with these daily forecasts and your tropical updates. So if you know someone, and even if they watch other weather YouTube channels, let them know about this channel. Maybe they'll find something here that they really like and they'll start to be a frequent watcher as well. But again, I appreciate all of you guys for helping us get to 60,000 subscribers. It means a lot to me. So now we're going to get into what's happening across the area today and then look at other potential development areas tropically into next week. We'll still start in the Bahamas. It's still been such an active period here with this frontal boundary that continues to stay draped over the area. It's finally beginning to break apart, but there has still been some active areas of showers and storms relatively early on this Saturday in the northern and the northwest Bahamas. We'll bring up the live radar here out of the Miami area. Again, if you guys don't know, I have access to live radars. We've got our live cameras here at Meteo Mundo. That's one of the exclusive things that we can bring you. It's one thing to show you the radar and the satellites, another thing to show you live cameras across the Caribbean. We'll look at those in just a second. Again, rain breaking out, Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, Freeport, Lucaya, Bimini, A few showers and storms will try and break out towards the Abacos, New Providence. We've already had an isolated shower or storm towards the airport there, Andros, and again the Eleuthera area. And we could continue to see a few spotty showers develop in the central sides of the Bahamas deeper into this Saturday that we go. But near this trough axis, Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, Bimini, the Abacos, Eleuthera, Nassau, New Providence, and Andros. Those are the areas in the Bahamas where I expect the best chance for storms. And this is one of our live cameras. This is going to be from Governor's Harbor in central Eleuthera. Again, relatively overcast. Not a Chamber of Commerce day, unfortunately. Breezes out there as well. Boaters hit or miss, right? Obviously, sea conditions are churned up, especially near some of the showers and storms, but you got to watch out for the lightning because that's another big story there. So that's the live look from central Eleuthera. This is a picture. Hopefully it will pop up from Nassau from yesterday. Jacqueline Griffin sent it in, and you can just see those dark clouds and that moisture-laden air over New Providence, and appreciate Jacqueline sending in that photo. And it's been a very common sight across the northern half of the Bahamas. All right, back out to our satellite and radar presentation here. We'll continue to monitor the situation, but I do expect rain chances to finally begin to lower in portions of the Bahamas. And again, you know, when it's not been raining, it's been very hot. We've had some gusty winds from time to time as well. Right now we're quiet in the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, but a few more thunderstorms could crop up there a little bit deeper into the afternoon hours that we go. Thunderstorms are likely to redevelop across Cuba, and some of those could make a run later in the day to places like Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. At this point in time, we're quiet in Jamaica. It's going to be another hot afternoon where we don't get the thunderstorms. Temperatures continuing to climb at the hour, back into the upper 80s in Montego Bay, but they'll get above 90 degrees there before it's all said and done. Earlier today, we had a couple of thunderstorms try and skirt the Little Cayman Brac area. Then they kind of dissipated with just some cloud coverage over Grand Cayman, and it's another hot afternoon there. I put on your live temperatures, by the way. These are going to be in Fahrenheit, but again, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is 32 degrees Celsius, and we're already punched well into the low and mid 90s Fahrenheit-wise across the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Now, there is a tropical wave right here from Hispaniola down to the ABC Islands, and you can clearly see a lot of those thunderstorms. We'll talk more about the monsoon trough coming up, but this should allow thunderstorms to be a little bit more prominent today in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and then back towards portions of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Again, a few thunderstorms early on this Saturday afternoon beginning to develop at the hour. Nice little storm, looks like it's trying to get going right now over the St. Thomas area. They're going to be local, right? But again, pockets of heavier rain and an isolated rumble of thunder. You can see the live lightning count here at Meteo Mundo as well, popping off some of that. Now, let's take a live look to the radar out of Puerto Rico at the hour. This is what it looks like, and you can clearly see how spotty the rain is across the Virgin Islands. A couple of showers over St. Croix. Christiansted's back down to 79, so the western and the southwest sides of St. Croix. Good thunderstorms over the southern sides of St. Thomas or towards St. John. A couple of spotty showers, Jost Van Dyke and the Road Town Tortola area. Some of these showers, again, are sneaking back into the Leeward Islands. You see a rumble of thunder just west of the St. Kitts and Nevis area there, and we've had some heavier showers redeveloping in the western sides of Puerto Rico from Muti Alto to Aguadilla and the Mayaguez area. So spotty rain right now, but the storm chances should continue to go up. Moisture is becoming a little bit better in this area. Do expect there again, even outside of 91L over the next couple of days, for the moisture to improve in quality and rain chances to be pretty decent overall here. And again, that's a precursor to any of the moisture that Invest 91L or what's left of it will continue to move through. Again, the Hurricane Center, even as early as tomorrow, could say, look, we're not even tracking 91L. It's just a tropical disturbance. But again, appreciably, it's still going to bring more than likely some rain to our area here midweek. Temperatures, again, some spotty showers and storms. We pick it up a little bit more prominently here. St. Lucia, Barbados, and south. A little bit better chance for a couple of showers there later in the day, and especially down into the southern half of the Windward Islands. We'll look at Trinidad and Tobago coming up, but our next live camera is going to be out of Corinth, St. Lucia. It really tells the story. Again, some clouds, some vertical development, some blue sky, many dry hours and locations. Overall, I'm not concerned about, the outdoor weather for the weekend across the Lesser Antilles, but is it going to be completely dry? No, it's not. Then you get back down into T&T, and we do have deeper tropical moisture in play right now. We have had some heavier rain. We do have an adverse yellow alert number 2 for Trinidad and Tobago for some excessive rainfall potential. Locally heavy downpours could produce some urban flooding and some flash flooding. So if you live live in TNT, please be aware of that. A few of these showers could sneak up towards Grenada, but it's really going to be concentrated in Trinidad and Tobago for the remainder of today. And again, just keep an eye out for the local government for the latest on that advisory. Nueva Esparta, a couple of scattered showers, trying to get a little bit of rain over Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. You notice Aruba's temperature earlier today dropped a bit. We had a couple of passing showers earlier there, and there's at least been some spotty rain in this area. Live look outside to the Eagle Beach area on Oranjestad. It's still gorgeous. I mean, I just love that turquoise. I love this shot here. And again, from the Costa Linda Beach Resort, we're panning this camera back off towards, kind of the south right now, kind of going from north to south along the southwest coastline of Aruba. And it's just a gorgeous shot. Again, yellow flags flying, but the breeze overall hasn't been horrible across the area for today. Now we swing out to the western side of the Caribbean. Again, there is a huge cluster of storms associated with the monsoon trough. It'll bring some heavy rain and some potential flooding rain to Panama and Costa Rica. At this point in time, none of the models trying to develop this. Again, this is a very typical thing in the Southwest Caribbean in early September to get clusters of storms. Every so often, some mid-level energy can break from this and move into the Northwest Caribbean and try and develop tropically. Now, in the short term, that is not expected to happen, but we'll talk about some longer term coming up towards the end of next week. Regardless, do you see the storms developing north and west? Storm chances should improve for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, and then eventually towards Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, as this moisture lifts to the north. So, again, it's been hot. Temperatures have been able to climb well into the 90s with a fresh breeze, but rain chances should begin to improve in these areas in the next couple of days. And we're going to have some localized showers and storms across Cancun and Cozumel in the inland sections of the Yucatan in the afternoon hours. But ultimately, again, I do expect rain overall for the Western Caribbean to go up as this area begins to kind of drift to the north and to the west. But again, at this point in time, it doesn't look to be tropical in nature. All right, so let's get into your forecast over the next 3 days. Actually, no, I don't want to do that yet. I want to look at the tropical area that I was mentioning here. So let me do a quick switch and then loop this up. So this is the GFS model, right? The GFS model we looked at had nothing to do with 91L as most of the models. So what it is trying to pick up on, though, is some potential development in the Northwest Caribbean mid to late week that would move north into the Gulf. And this could potentially be the next area that we have to monitor. Again, let me remind you that climatologically, the peak of hurricane season is next Wednesday, September 10th. It's when we typically see the most frequency of hurricanes and tropical storms. And normally, we have several areas of interest to monitor this time of the year. We just have 91L at this point in time, so relatively speaking, it's been quiet. And remember, it was quiet this time last year as well before we flipped the switch in mid-September, and we ended up getting storm after storm after storm the latter half of September and October. Is that going to be the case of the 2025 season? We'll have to see, but you can clearly see that there is some broad spin here in the Northwest Caribbean and into the Southeast Gulf. This is the GFS ensemble members for next week, so this is next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you're going to start to see some of the models on the ensemble members here of the GFS begin to pick up on a couple of different areas, right? Again, I don't want to point out any one area. That's not the point of this graphic. What to show you, though, is that the GFS is beginning to hone in on the potential for some development in the Northwest Caribbean and the Gulf towards the end of the week of next week and into next weekend. So this will be the next area that I'll be closely monitoring. We'll see if some of the other models want to start to pick up on that from the GFS. Okay, so island by island rain chance looks like this. Again, should be a bit lower overall in the Bahamas the next couple of days. 30 to a 40% chance. Turks and Caicos, about the same situation. Cuba's rain chances stay about what they typically see this time of the year, and that's a good chance for showers and storms in the afternoon hours, especially in interior locations. Cayman Islands rain chances will build as that moisture begins to lift to the north. Belize City's rain chances, again, it's going to take a few days, but they should ultimately start to rise. Cancun and Cozumel coming along for that ride as well. In Jamaica, higher rain chances tomorrow, okay, with a little bit more tropical moisture, and then we'll see if the northeast extent of that moisture gets into Jamaica. I've lowered the chance a bit, but 40 is not bad on Tuesday, and ultimately I might raise it again depending on that slug of moisture from the southwest Caribbean, how far north and east it gets. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico's rain chances stay healthy the next several days. Same thing for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Bermuda, after a couple of dry days, will get back into some rain chances on Tuesday. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, 50 to a 60% chance. Now, you notice that for most of the Lesser Antilles, I've got 50 to 60% chance most days. You know, there's nothing to really, at this point in time, to be fully distinguish kind of the afternoon hours most of the next few afternoons, because we're going to have some tropical moisture in play, and then we have to see if 91L holds together enough to feed in any moisture. Remember, it's a small, compact storm, and it is somewhat moisture starved, where some of the models do have some squally weather and others really just have it passing by as an open wave and not enough moisture to really bring a lot of rain. So, you know, put a pin in this. We'll see how this plays out over the next several days, but we should have some passing showers, but in and out of this rain, there should be many dry hours and locations as well. Barbados rain chances should improve a bit. Same thing for Grenada. Again, T and T kind of by themselves with the higher rain chances there. Suriname and Guyana look pretty good for showers and storms the next several days. Nueva Esparta's rain chances 40 tomorrow, and I still have some spotty showers that could be in the morning hours for the ABC Islands Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. All right, going back over to, I think by literally my clicker's battery's almost dead. If we look at the wave heights and directions, again, this is based off of the GFS model. So we're going to get a little bit more disturbed, you know, action in the Western Atlantic Basin. It could kick up the seas in the open exposed waters of the Atlantic, the east side of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. And again, there's another trough coming off the United States East Coast to combine with that and bring some fresher winds and waves there. Otherwise, again, if you look towards like Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, again, we could pull in a little bit more marine interest problems here as we get into, you know, next Wednesday and Thursday in association with that. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's take a look real quickly at the potential for rainfall here with the GFS model. And again, just to bring that up, here we go. All right. Well, even my computer's giving me problems right now. So if you take a look at this, this is the GFS model for rain over the next 5 days. If we look at the actual numbers here, again, you're going to see spots that get over an inch of rain, which is great. In a lot of areas here, and again, I told you the GFS model was farther north with whatever moisture is coming in with either 91L or the remnants of 91L. So it paints on more rain for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico overall, but all of the Lesser Antilles get in on some rain out of this. Now, again, an inch is 25 millimeters. So are we going to get a ton of rain? Probably not a ton. But 25 to maybe 50 plus millimeters in a couple of localized spots is a good situation there. Very heavy rainfall here across, again, the southern half of Central America. Eventually we'll pull in some of that heavier rain across Honduras, on over towards Belize and Guatemala. Very locally heavy rain across portions of Cuba. Same situation again. Some interior sections of Hispaniola could get over 4 inches of rain. Some spotty heavier rain is likely in portions of Jamaica. Again, if I zoom out here and just show you, you can clearly see that spin coming in, if you will, with the tropical moisture building north into the Caribbean. Does it get to the Cayman Islands? Does it get to Jamaica is a bit of a question. And the farther north that you go, closer to the northern side of the Bahamas, still some excessive rainfall is possible there as well. Friends, you can follow us across all social media. We're on all of our different platforms: Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. If you want to send me a picture or video to help tell the weather story in your area, please go to myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Send the email there. That's the best way to do it. As always, if you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. While you're down there, thank you for liking and subscribing. And again, please, if you wouldn't mind sharing this channel with just one friend or family member, I would really appreciate that. Please remember that Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Friends, have a great rest of your day. You know I'm monitoring the situation very closely for you, and I'll have the latest soon for you right here at Meteo Mundo.